I'm going to read out the first 5 seals, guys, and see if we agree or disagree. It's in the NLT, by the way. It's because I can read that. When the Lamb broke this, I'll start from the second seal because we all know the first one could have happened or could not have happened. I don't know. And when the Lamb broke the second seal, I heard a second living being say, "Come." And the other horse appeared, the red one, and its rider was given a mighty sword and authority to take peace from the earth. Okay. And there was war and slaughter everywhere. Now that has definitely happened in the world. It's not happening yet, is it? As a sort of, I mean, it was done in the Second World War and it's constantly been done since the Baghdad, Iraq, Iran wars. You know, it's constantly been that way, although we're thinking in seals, is seals part of the start, you know, that's already been happening was where we were messing about with. But you'd say the second seal could have happened, in my opinion, over time with all the wars and stuff that's been going on. Does anybody disagree with that one?
Who knows? It's a possibility.
It's a possibility,
you know?
isn't it?
I agree with you, Pete.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I agree with you.
Let's read the third one. When the Lamb broke the third seal, I heard a third living being say, "Come." I looked up and saw a black horse, and the rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings which are in heaven, so they're not on earth. We're not looking at something earthly at that point. A loaf of wheat, where am I going? A loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and the wine. Well, that could have happened in the heavenlies. It doesn't necessarily mean that one could have happened on earth, or it could have been talking about the church, us guys. What does anybody think about that one? Is that a possibility of already happened?
I guess I'm confused because do they use money in heaven?
No.
Or did I misunderstand?
No. Oh, good point. Good point. A loaf of wheat, good point. So it's definitely an earthly thing, isn't it? Very good point.
Yeah.
Well picked up on that.
Well, Philip just posted United Nations is warning of a biblical-sized famine coming this year.
Yeah, actually, I've heard that, Philip. I've heard that as well.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's United Nations. So
They're probably in a closet.
we could be on the cusp of that one.
Now there's 20.
And we also know that
Go on,
also know what happened in Texas with the price of oil when people were trying to get oil to heat their houses, and that ice.
Yep.
The ice. It was like a crazy amount cost for the oil.
Yeah, like $68 or something like that, a gallon or something. It was very, very high.
It was.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility, isn't it?
$61. It was incredibly high.
It's a possibility. So, it's not nothing confirmed, is it? But it is a possibility.
No, because we really don't know what's been happening. That's why right now it's so hard to be able to tell, because we don't have the benefit of hindsight.
Well, this is what I'm trying to establish, really, because we're dealing with sorrows at the moment. Now, Ida, I need you, sis. Yeah. The first 3.5 years is sorrows, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we could be the birth pangs of sorrows, though, couldn't we?
Well,
could be.
We are.
Could be.
Suffering.
Yeah, it's open to us.
Just to throw a thought out here. We're thinking about it the way we live, but when it talks about the cost of things being a day's pay, now there are some countries that it does take a day's pay to get food.
Exactly. Kenya is 8 shillings a month is the average wage, which is equivalent to a pound. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We think about it the way we live, but there are some countries that are living like that now.
Yeah.
It's just a thought,
It is because Britain.
That's why I'm saying that
Britain, because of there's babies starving to death. I mean, babies starving to death for lack of food in Britain. In Britain,
Right. And even here in the U.S.,
Yeah.
there are families that are starving.
I know.
You know, there's families that don't have food.
Okay.
There's families that's homeless. So, you know, we think about it the way we're living, but, you know, and like I said, it's just a thought, you know.
Well, it is possible. That's why I looked at these, and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I thought, wait a minute. Now, that was the third seal. Let's read the fourth. Then the Lamb broke the fourth seal. I heard the fourth living being say, "Come." I looked up and saw the horse, whose colour was pale green. Its rider was named Death, and its companion was the Grave. These two were given authority over over 1/4 of the earth to kill with the sword and famine and disease and wild animals. We know that's happened. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's right, isn't it? I thought
Yep.
I was going mad. Okay, we'll go on to the fifth seal, because the sixth seal definitely hasn't happened, by the way. Okay, when the Lamb broke the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of the souls all who have been martyred for the word of God, for being faithful in the testimony. They shouted to the Lord and said, "O sovereign Lord, holy and true, how long before you judge the people who belong to this world and avenge our blood for what they have done?" Let's go back to the first part. That's happened. There's millions been martyred. Over.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Millions.
It's tragic.
And Russia.
Disgusting.
It's going back to the
Yep.
70s and 80s. Beaten up, thrown in
Yeah.
jails. Now, this definitely hasn't happened. It's the sixth seal. And this is what I'm thinking. We're looking at all these earthquakes, right? This is what I wanted. I wanted some help. Right? Watched as the Lamb broke the sixth seal and there was a great earthquake. Okay. Period. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Well, big
You know,
earthquakes have happened.
Pete,
We're coming.
just what we was talking about, all these earthquakes.
Yeah.
If a big earthquake would
Mhm.
happen on a fault line,
Mhm.
it would cause a global earthquake.
Yeah,
And these in New Zealand are on a fault line.
Ooh, cow. We need to airlift
Oh, they
around.
are. And they go all the way up around China, up to Japan, around Alaska, and down to California where it falls off.
Now,
Where it
read on,
shoots loose.
read on that. Sorry, go
And
on.
in the
Go on.
go ahead. No.
Yeah, I'll read on with that. After the earthquake says, the sun became dark and black as cloth, and the moon became as red as blood. Then the stars of the sky fell to the earth like it's falling from the tree, shaken. A strong wind, and the sky was rolled up as a scroll, and all the mountains and the islands were moved from the places. Then everyone, the kings and the earth, the rulers and the generations. Am I definitely in seals at the moment? Yes, I am. Generals, wealthy and powerful, slave and free, all hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks and the mountains, and they cried to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall on us, hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come." That's the beginning of trumpets and the end of seals. Interesting.
Yep.
Mhm.
That is interesting. So are you saying that, are you thinking that we have to go through 1 through 5?
Maybe we
I'm
already
wondering if
are.
Maybe we already are, and that's what he's implying?
Just a thought.
That's what we're wondering. We're just
Mhm.
wondering.
Mhm.
Just wondering.
Have
Patty.
Oh yeah, wondering.
Yeah.
not implying. I don't,
It's
yeah,
just
that's-
thoughts, Patty. It's just thoughts. It's not definite.
No,
It's
don't.
just
I-
thoughts.
I didn't mean implying. I meant
No.
thoughts, yeah.
I still
Conversation.
have no idea. Like, I really feel like the seals and the bowls are for the tribulation. Like, some people are like, the tribulation is only 3.5 years, but it's like, I feel like the first half is the judgment through natural disasters. Like, that's how I frame it in my mind, but then again, I'm also a very structured person in thinking, so I think in steps
Yeah, it's
instead
fine.
of like
Right. And I think that a lot of us have been trained that way. If you think about it, think about the educational system.
Oh
They
yeah.
always want, it's always about order. Now, Revelation is not in.
Take Matthew 24, for example. It's half and half, right? Some is mentioning
Right.
what I'd say is rapture, but some is to the Jews. Why is it split in, I don't know, what, 6 verses? It's not, and you're thinking, well, and this is only my thinking, and my thinking, actually, I'm going out over Twitch. I don't know who else is thinking it's going to be. But if we'd gone through the seals, which we don't know whether Revelation is in order, we know that the beginning, that the seals are the begin. Well, we assume the beginning of sorrows, 3.5 years. The 7 years comes plainer when you read books like The Common Prince. He's probably the best one. The fellow that discovered the 7 years worked out over 40 years, and he did it through historic documents and tablets and stuff like that. He did do a lot of work on that. So the 7 years is pretty. I'm okay with that it is 7 years. Doesn't mean to say that it mirrors 7 something else. That's for sure. It doesn't mean it could easily do. But the thing is, if we've lived by way of course, seals and the 6th is about to kick off, leading us into trumpets, then that would make it mid-trib. If the revelation,
yeah,
the revelation wasn't out of order, that is.
like I just know it's not post-trib because of all the
No, it's not.
like if you look at 1 Corinthians 51 to 52, it shows that it
You're safe.
Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. So it's like the sleep in that context that he's talking about is death, because right before that in the passage, he talks about the dead in Christ and how they're asleep. And it's like basically when he just says that we will not all sleep, it's like, to me, that shows no post trib, because it's like people in post trib believe that like every single believer will die before they're raptured. And
where confusing you a bit, Jess, I think what we're actually saying is that the 7 years might include all these things happening together. We're not saying anything about rapture. We're going whether we go mid-trib before all the rapture, before all the Jacob's trouble, the hot stuff, the heavy stuff. I'm a pre-trib, by the way, but if the seals were separated, if the seals were separated, then it would be before seals. And if they're all put together into 7 years, seals, bowls and trumpets, then we're still before the wrath. So you're right in thinking pre-trib, and you're right with all your scriptures, Jess. Okay? We're not going to be here.
No, I wasn't saying that y'all were saying that. I was just adding that in. Like, I literally was just adding that in.
I thought we were worrying you.
No, I'm not worried. I'm actually just sitting over here calm as a cucumber.
Oh, good.
Cucumbers are really calm.
Or maybe like calm as a what's another
Cucumbers.